There seems to be a running theme with Qpad these days, and that's simplicity. The Qpad DX120 gaming mouse is a simple plug-and-play venture with very little adjustment capabilities outside of the adjustable DPI. The Qpad DX120 gaming mouse is on the larger side of the scale when it comes to the gaming mouse market. Now, it's defined by its large hump on the rear of the mouse, which is actually pretty comfortable to hold the mouse in the palm grip. Each button is well within reach, including the side thumb buttons, and the only button that requires a little bit of a stretch is the DPI button that's placed just below the scroll wheel. The entire mouse is coated in a soft to touch grippy plastic that unfortunately does blemish when used, as I've found with the left and right mouse buttons. There is a black gloss plastic running down the sides of the mouse, giving it a decent accent and a bit of detailing as well. The cable, which has a USB connection on the end, is braided and measures at 1.8 meters long, which is pretty decent and actually plenty for those with their PCs on a desk, and also those who keep their rigs on the floor. As it's braided, it means it doesn't snag on the back of my desk. I'm not sure about your desk, but it doesn't snag on mine. The buttons use Omron switches and feel very nice and responsive, and as I said in my review of the Qpad MK75 keyboard, it took me a little bit of getting used to, as the buttons here are also firm, but it doesn't hinder gameplay. Though this isn't always a bad thing, it means that if I relax my hand a little bit, then there's no risk of putting too much pressure on the fire button, giving away my position in Modern Warfare. I can also fire quick enough to make something like the single shot fire Guardian a viable option in Valorant as well. The scroll wheel flicks through increments, making it easy to hit a desired zoom level or a weapon when you're aiming for something in Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, or again even Valorant. Around the bottom trim is an RGB effect that waves between color. Now, from what I can see, there is no way of changing this. It's stuck like this. Same with the Q logo on the rear of the device as well, and the scroll wheel. They cycle through the RGB colors and it looks pretty classy as well. It's not really bright and in your face, especially the band around the bottom. But because of the lack of software control, however, it means that there is no way to adjust this. Tip the mouse over though, and you will find a pretty decent PWM 3360 sensor, which can be set to various DPI increments, starting from 400 at its least sensitive option right up to 1600 DPI. Now, the biggest problem with this though is the fact that you have to cycle through the whole range before getting back to your preferred settings. So, for example, I usually play with two DPI options, one for running and gunning and one for sniping, with the latter being the lower DPI setting. If I'm running around Warzone with an M4 and I want to begin sniping with my secondary weapon, I have to cycle through the whole range before I get back to my desired DPI. Now, this is a shame, as the DX80, which is the 120's predecessor, had up and down DPI switches. So for some tech specs for those out there who are interested in what's under the hood, the mouse has a max acceleration of 50G, which can be turned off inside of your window settings if you find yourself overshooting. There's no software control here, so there's no sleek looking window to change things. The polling rate is clocked at 1000 Hz, which is said to be a snappier feel, but I don't know really. I'm not a hardcore gamer. It has an ARM Cortex-M processor inside as well. The Qpad DX120 mouse is a decent product. It's definitely well built and has some tasteful RGB effects. Now, I especially like the soft grip coating, even though it blemishes, and I am a fan of larger mice in general, so this one ticks that box. It does need some software to keep up with competitors though. It's nice that it's a plug and play, but for gamers to really fine tune their experiences, there needs to be some kind of micromanagement tool, especially when it comes to adjustable DPI. Now, that's just a pain in the backside if you ask me. The DX120 costs €69.30 or £63 here in the UK, which is pricing itself out the market a little bit, seeing as we've got the M65 from Corsair, the SteelSeries 600 and the Kone Pure Ammo on the market around the same kind of price. So thank you very much for checking out my video review of the Qpad DX120 optical gaming mouse. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that like button. Please subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments down below what you think about the DX120 gaming mouse. If you would go for something like this, or you would go for one of the competitors I mentioned earlier. Also in the comments, if you wouldn't mind, let me know what you think about this setup. Now, I've got a new desk in here. We did have a black table in here before, but I got a new white desk. I've got some new nano leaves on the wall as well, just to give me a bit of separation and a bit of color behind me. But let me know in the comments what you think about this whole setup and what we can do to actually improve it as well. I'd like to hear your thoughts. As I said, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.